Well, right into it today. A couple announcements for you guys. The first thing is we obviously have moved the team call to an earlier time now. So now we are rocking and rolling at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me do my math right. 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and then 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I figured a little bit earlier might be better for some people, as I know our East Coast friends, like they don't get to the call until 8 p.m. And then by that time, you're kind of like winding down for bed. So we're going to see how it goes. We'll see how this change of the time works. I think it's going to, I know for sure it's like better for my schedule. And I'm hoping for you guys too, because then I can get a little bit more assessment work done like after this. So with that being said, that was the first thing. Second thing is, so next week is Memorial Day weekend, right? I want you guys to start kind of like thinking about planning, prepping for that. If you have events, if you have things that you're going to with family, these big weekends like Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, they tend to feel like they might throw us off our game just a little bit. So kind of planning and prepping for that is going to be huge. But I will be out of office next Friday and Monday. And through the weekend, we are going to be spending time with my dad in Kentucky. So, just a heads up, the earlier you guys can get your assessments in next week, the better will be for me so that I can get back to everybody kind of like before the weekend gets rolling. So, if you guys could do that, I would really appreciate it. Just because we have quite a bit of a long drive up there on Friday, but I want to be all like done with assessments by Friday, like I have been lately. So, just a heads up about next week. If you can get them in early as possible, I'd appreciate that. Okay. So let's talk about tonight. So last week we did FAQs about a fitness journey, right? We talked about using a food scale. We talked about the effectiveness of using a food scale, like what are things that I get asked on like, a weekly basis. And a lot of you guys said it was really helpful and just some good reminders. And this week I wanted to jump into kind of segueing off of the FAQs, like the do's and don'ts of a fitness journey or a wellness journey. I think this is really important because I think a lot of the times it can be very overwhelming and it can be like, oh my gosh, like I have all these things to do. I've got so much going on and this and that. Like, what do I really focus on? And like, what are the things that are actually important versus what are the things that I can just completely kick to the wayside and don't really matter for me? So I'm hoping through this conversation that we kind of identify some of those things maybe in your life and we go from there. So we're going to start with the do's because let's be positive about it. So first things for the do's. Maybe these aren't things you're thinking about. So the first thing that I think you all should be doing is train unilateral work. What does that mean? That means lunges. That means front lunges. That means side lunges. That means reverse lunges. That means doing one shoulder press at a time versus both arms pressing. That means doing one curl at a time versus both arms curling. Unilateral work is phenomenal because every single one of us has a strong side and a not so strong side. And I won't even say it's our dominant versus non-dominant side because a lot of us who are right-handed may feel stronger on our right, but you in fact may be stronger on your left. For example, like I know my right arm is stronger than my left arm, but my left leg is stronger than my right leg. So that unilateral work, doing one leg at a time, one arm at a time, can absolutely help you with muscle imbalances. This could also go for maybe you previously sprained a right ankle. I know Amanda on this call, unfortunately, she's broken her leg, right? So that leg probably doesn't feel as strong as the other leg. So little things like that, kind of knowing, okay, I sprained this wrist or I sprained this ankle, paying a little bit of extra attention to that joint or that muscle is important. So it helps kind of work out the imbalances. And then specifically for the lower body, it works on balance. So many of you guys that do train with Kelsey, you know that I'll throw in lunges, I'll throw in side lunges, I'll throw in a single leg RDL where our leg is coming behind us. Just today, I recorded it. You'll see it next week. Our shoulder presses, it's a unilateral shoulder press. It's one at a time. So that is huge because, again, it teaches you where some deficits might be. It's very humbling. But then how do you fix that? Like, what do you do, right? I know you despise lunges, Amanda. I'm sorry. They're so effective, though. They're so good. But yes, it's humbling and it shows you those deficits, but it also shows you, hey, you should do, an extra 2 reps or 3 reps on that side. If your shoulder isn't as strong on the left, do 2 or 3 extra reps. If your arm isn't strong on the right, do 2 or 3 extra curls. Same thing with your legs, 2 or 3 extra lunges. It may not seem like much, but in a month to 2 month, you're going to be completely amazed at how your strength can come around. So I think a misconception is people are like, oh, I just got to go and work out this arm. No, no, no. Slowly but surely add in 2 or 3 extra reps here or there, and it's going to start coming around. But one of the first things is actually noticing those imbalances. And truly, the only way we can notice those imbalances in our training is by doing unilateral work. So continue to focus on your unilateral work. It doesn't have to be all the time, but I would say at least one workout a week, you need to have some sort of unilateral movement. Okay. So that's the first thing. If you guys have any questions about that, drop it down below. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going through. Second thing, another thing I think you should be doing on your journey is core work. Okay. Core work is so important. And I'm not just telling you that because I'm a chiropractor, right? I'm not just telling you that because I walk around seeing people with weak cores all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But core work is so effective. We often think that, okay, the way we grow our muscles in our arms, our shoulders, our legs is through weights, right? But we don't do the same thing with our core. We just do obsessive amounts of sit-ups and think we're going to get a core, right? Ditch the crunches, ditch the sit-ups. Every once in a while, they're okay. But how you focus on getting a strong core is weighted exercises. Weighted exercises for core are fantastic. And a lot of times in Train with Kelsey, I will do them, for you guys with weights. I'm going to see what Christy said in the chat. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, Christy, best before or after. But core work in general is so important, from like planks, bird dogs, dead bugs, deep pelvic floor work. If you are someone who is postpartum, if you have had kids and you struggle with incontinence, sneezing, coughing, if you haven't had kids and you still struggle with sneezing, incontinence, coughing, whatever it may be, you might need to work on your pelvic floor. A lot of the times women are not educated about their pelvic floor. If you're someone who, a couple of girls on the team are pregnant right now, obviously going through birth, utilizing that pelvic floor, that's so important. So focusing more on things like that versus I'm going to do a ton of sit-ups, I'm going to do a ton of crunches. Like, there's more effective ways to train your core. But again, add in weights because they're muscles too. Kneeling options, standing options are really great. I try to switch it up and Train with Kelsey, but you guys can always YouTube some really great, like, hey, standing core work, or kneeling core work. There's tons of different stuff out there. But this is where I'm gonna jump up on my pedestal for just a sec about what I see on a daily basis. Absolutely, having a strong core helps you with your posture. 99% of the time, guys, people come to me and they sit like this. They're actually sitting in the waiting room in chairs like this. I'm like, well, no wonder why you feel like garbage, right? No wonder why your posture looks terrible and you have pain. So it absolutely can help with prevention of lower back pain, prevention of mid back pain, but it's great for overall strength and support of everything. So Christy's question was, what is more effective for training? Is it before, after, or afterwards? Like, what do we do? Do we train core before, or do we train core afterwards? Personally, I have found that I feel my core best when I train it at the beginning of my workout. Why? That kind of ignites, I get a little bit of fire there, and I almost feel it, like I hold it tighter throughout the workout. So now in Train with Kelsey, I will say a lot of times I'll just throw it in at the end, but there's absolutely been some Train with Kelsey workouts where we've thrown core in at the very beginning, like 3 to 4 core exercises, get that thing on fire, and you're going to notice it for the rest of the workout. So effectively overall, I know we have 2 Christys on the call. So Christy Jensen, to answer your question, I would do it before. I would almost always train it before, or if you're going to plan on training it after, make sure you're focusing on heavy activation throughout your workouts. That's going to be really great for you. And Jordan said, for the core challenge for Train with Kelsey, where are we supposed to submit the before pics? Jordan, you can just send them to me. That's totally fine. Or you can wait to put your side by side and then send them to me. That's totally fine. So that's a good question. That core challenge is just for Train with Kelsey right now. So for those of you guys who aren't doing Train with Kelsey, it's just a Train with Kelsey thing. Okay, so that was core work. So we've already talked about we should be doing unilateral work. We should be doing core work. Here's another do for your fitness journey. I think it is important to do different variations of exercises in standing and lying as well as kneeling. So you guys will see sometimes we'll do exercises in Train with Kelsey from a seated position. Sometimes we'll do them from a kneeling position or a standing position. Very important to switch that up a little bit and to switch it up throughout your training, because your heart rate, your blood pressure has to change when you go from a chest press to a standing bicep curl, when you go from a laying skull crusher to a bent over row. your body has to change throughout that. So, not doing an entire workout standing is really great for you, right? Lay down, do a couple exercises, do some in kneeling. And that's why in Train with Kelsey as well, I'll give you options like, hey, if you guys want to come down and do this from your knees, like go ahead. If you want to do this from a quadruped position, go ahead. But a lot of people think like they go to the gym and they just have to stand to do all their exercises, right? Standing shoulder presses or standing bicep curls. Sit down. Try a seated shoulder press. I can confidently tell you guys because I've tested it. I can push significantly more in a shoulder press when I'm seated on a bench versus I can in standing. Like it's just I can push from the floor, I can push through my feet, and I notice that I'm a lot stronger in a seated position. So try those different things. If you don't like standing shoulder presses, sit down. If you don't like kneeling, exercise for a core one, stand up and see if you like it. But changing that up, super important. Again, you don't have to do it all the time, but just like I'd mentioned with the unilateral work, how you should work it into one workout at least. And if you're doing Train with Kelsey, don't worry, it's already covered for you. But if you're doing other exercises, work in unilateral work. That's important. Okay. So that's the third thing. And again, if you guys have questions, please just put them down in the chat. The fourth thing is do ask questions. Okay. I need to reiterate this to y'all that no question is a stupid question. We don't expect it to stick necessarily the first time we tell you something. I don't expect the first time you and I have a conversation about a reverse diet, right? That you know what the heck I'm talking about. I expect you to look at me deer in the headlights like, what did you just say? Like a reverse diet is a thing. I don't expect us to all get it on the first try because I know that I didn't understand a lot of things on the first try. But I need to reiterate to you guys that I don't know how to help you if you don't tell me what you're struggling with. And it is your job every week to think about like, hey, what's gone well this week, but what am I struggling with? Many of you guys have been with me for months or years now. I will never, ever, ever make you feel stupid for asking me a question. I will be sad if you don't ask me a question. The only bad question is the question that you don't ask. So I will sit there and I will answer questions over and over and over until you feel confident. And there's many times where I'm like, let me know if that made sense. And if it didn't, I will rephrase it another way. But I think a lot of the times people are like, oh, well, I should know this already, or I don't really understand this. So I'm just not going to ask. Ask, please. I will point you where to go. I will tell you where to go. But the biggest thing I've learned on my journey with my coach, Monica, right now specifically, is I have to tell her what I have questions about. Like I need to bring those things to her because otherwise, if my macros look perfect for the week, I hit all of my workouts, she thinks everything's going great. But I lacked in telling her I slept like crap. My energy's been, absolute trash and I'm stressed out of my mind. I'm just making stuff up. But do ask questions about those things. Like, what can I do this week about my sleep? What can I do this week about my recovery? Your goal is to continue learning every week, right? Which was always be learning is one of our core values. So please do ask questions. That's so important. Okay, that's the fourth one. And last one for our do's is take ownership of where you are. Okay, I know it's really hard to do. I know it's really hard to sit back and own everything but where you are, but you have to because no person has gotten you to the place you are other than you, right? Sure, there's influences from work, there's influences from family, spouses. I get it, but you've got to take ownership. And I can confidently tell you guys, the faster you take ownership, the easier your journey becomes. The journey is very messy when you're not able to take ownership for things or you find external circumstances in life that you're trying to like push the blame onto, right? Now, again, please hear me when I say I'm holding your guys' hands when I say this. I get families a lot. I get marriages are a lot. I get all of that stuff. But you still have to be able to take ownership for where you are on your journey. Okay. So case in point, I've been really working on stress relief with my coach right now. And she gave me a couple of things. She gave me 5 pages in a nonfiction book. So a book that I just enjoy and that's fun to junk journal. So like brain dump a journal entry every day. And then to do my nightly self-care routine. And she called me out on it last week. She was like, how many days did you do that? I was like, maybe one. And she was like, okay, well, then you need to take ownership that the reason you're continually feeling stressed is because you're not doing the things that we talked about to try to help with stress. And I was like, you know what, Monica, you're right. I didn't do it. I don't have an excuse for it. I just didn't do it. And she was like, great. Okay. Now that we've identified it, let's move forward. Right. But that conversation would have been really hard if I would have been like, well, Monica, I teach 2 classes for a university. Well, Monica, we're trying to figure out what we're doing for Memorial Day weekend. Well, Monica, I saw 105 patients last. It at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter. I still have to take accountability for it. And the faster you take accountability and the faster you take ownership, guess what? The solution's easy. She's like, great. Then you need to at least do this 3 out of 5 days next week or 5 out of 7 days or whatever it is. It gets so much easier when you just take ownership of that. So do continue to take ownership. It's hard to do, but when you realize that you're a sum, a result, accumulation of the decisions you either did or didn't make for the last 30, 60, 90 days, stuff gets a lot easier. And you can always tell why you are where you are because of what you did a month, 2 months, or 3 months ago. So it's just a good reminder that, again, it's tough, but the more you can do that, the easier it's going to get. Okay. So just to recap our do's, things you should be doing: training your unilateral work, core work, switching up exercises, sitting, standing, laying, etc., asking questions, and then taking ownership of where you are. Okay. Now, before we move on to the don'ts, any questions about the do's? Or do we feel pretty good about those? I think they're just good reminders. Hopefully we feel pretty good. Okay, if something comes up, let me know. Now on to the don'ts, right? I don't like to do a whole bunch of negative things, but I think it's important. So the first don't is please, 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 please do not do the comparison game, okay? Admiration for someone's journey and someone's results is totally okay. But comparing yourself to somebody else is not productive. Because oftentimes what I remind patients and what I'll remind a lot of you guys is you, me, anybody on this call, and Logan, it doesn't matter. We do not walk around with a billboard of our before picture of what we used to look like. We don't walk around with a sign that says used to struggle with anxiety, used to struggle with depression, used to have this, used to have that, used to be on this medication, used to have these thoughts. We don't see any of that stuff. And social media absolutely is a curated experience. It is 100% a highlight reel. And you see all the great and wonderful things, right? Now people are getting more vulnerable, which I think is amazing. But generally, you see 99% of the good stuff. So if you don't walk around with a billboard in front of you of what you used to look like, nobody else does either. So again, admiration for that journey and that transformation is okay, but comparing yourself isn't productive. Oh, well, they started, at the same time as me. Or maybe you don't know that they started 15 years ago, or they started 3 years ago and you started last month, right? The results that you expect to achieve in 2 to 3 months will take 2 to 3 years. And the faster that you recognize that and the faster that you realize that, it gets a lot more comfortable. So again, you can have people you aspire to be like, you can have physiques that you aspire to have, but you cannot have the unrealistic expectation you're going to achieve that same thing in 2 to 3 months. You might be able to achieve it in a year to 2 years, absolutely, or get a hell of a lot closer to it, but you're not doing it in 2 to 3 months. So use that as positive thoughts of, you know what, if that person did it, I can do it. And then you leave it at that. And if you ask them for advice, I can guarantee they're going to say it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It took a lot of TNT, which was my announcement yesterday. It took a lot of things that took no talent, right? TNT stands for takes no talent. They got up when they didn't want to. They went to bed when they didn't want to. They didn't push snooze. They got their hydration and they got their workouts and they got a walk in, whatever it is. They did the things that took no talent. So admiration's great, comparison's not. So don't do the comparison game, okay? I know it's easier said than done, but if you find yourself falling in that trap, reach out to me. I will help you. And this also goes to say that if you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody on social media, unfollow them. Please just get them off your feed. You don't need that. There's been a lot of people in the last couple of years who I realized this is absolutely serving me in no way, shape, or form, and just unfollow. Just distance yourself from it. That's totally okay. So that's the first thing for don'ts. The second thing, don't wait for assessments to get help. Don't wait for Wednesday or Thursday to come around and be like, oh, I can finally message Kelsey, even though I've been struggling since Sunday. Nope. I have my messages open to you guys 24/7. Now, I cannot guarantee that if you obviously message me at 3 a.m., I will get back to you at 3 a.m., but I will get back to you by the end of the business day or the end of the next day, as fast as I can get the messages back to you guys as they come in. But don't wait. If you're struggling on Sunday, please don't wait until Wednesday to reach out. Tell me right then. Even if it's just a Kels, I'm having a really hard time talking myself to go into the gym today. Or you know what? I need a little bit of help with my last meal of macros for today. Can you help me? Yes, absolutely. I can help you. Yes, we have a weekly summary, but it doesn't mean you need to wait till that. My favorite thing is chatting with you guys throughout the week. And I know a lot of you love it too. For example, like Heather and I were chatting last week, and I know she won't care that I say this, but she's like, I feel like we've been talking all week, so you already know everything. I'm like, great. That is so great for me because I already know so many things. Then I can really take a fine tooth comb through your assessment. It's a little faster. So if you guys are like, hey, I want to send Kelsey a Sunday night update, please send me an update. I am telling you, I am accessible for you. If I don't currently have working business hours, you won't hear from me, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can, right? You guys know I turn my phone off at like 7 or 7:30 at night. Like it's in my room, it's off. Like well, it's not off, but like I do not disturb. I just wind down with Logan for the night. But please don't wait so long to ask for help, right? For example, like a couple weeks ago, I wanted to talk to Monica about something on a Wednesday, and her assessments are Sundays and Mondays. And I was like, no, I'll just like wait. And I told her, I'm like, I was thinking about this on Wednesday. And she was like, Kelsey, what would you tell your clients? I'm like, I would have told them to message me. She's like, exactly. So know that I'm more accessible to you than just 2 days a week. I am here for you. The Facebook group is here for you. The Facebook chat is here. I will tell you, that's sweet of you in the comments, Chrissy. I worry I ask or send too many questions or things sometimes. I will tell you guys if you're sending too many things, and none of you have ever heard from me that you're sending too many things, right? I will never say that to you because information is power for me. Knowledge is power. And again, if you tell me 10% of your week and you left 90% out, and I give you feedback on 10%, you're like, well, but she didn't mention anything about the 90%. You didn't tell me about the 90%, right? I don't need to know every little detail, but I really want to know what's going on for you guys. So tell me that. I promise I will always tell you if it's too much, and I have yet to tell somebody that it's too much. Now, some of my patients who are Southern old ladies who like to talk, I definitely tell them that they're telling me too much, but you guys, that's not applicable. Okay. So that's the second thing. The third don't is please don't use the gym as punishment. Okay. You've probably heard me say this many, many times before. But I hate when people say exercise is a punishment, or I need to go punish myself because I ate this or I ate that, or I need to overtrain or double up. No, 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 no. Exercise is not a punishment. Exercise is a celebration of what your body can do, not what it can't do, what it can do. Please don't feel the need to burn it off or kill yourself there or jump on the Stairmaster for 45 minutes. It's not going to do anything, right? The gym is a fantastic place to work on strength and cardiovascular fitness, but it's not a place for you to punish yourself with training. I will never draw any negative connotations between training. You guys will hear me say stuff on my story like, man, I don't want to today, right? But it's just because maybe I've had a long day or I'm tired or I'm drained with patience, but I'm not doing that to punish me. I'm doing that because I know I'm going to feel better afterwards, right? Those endorphins are going to be great. But please never say, oh, well, I need to go for a run and burn this off. Like, it's not going to do anything for you. I can confidently tell you it's not. You know, the best change that you could make if you're not on par with your nutrition and workouts have been a struggle, don't think, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to like punish myself and burn this all off. A more effective swap would be 20 seconds in the kitchen where you're deciding, you know what, I'm going to have veggies instead of having pasta tonight. I'm going to have, instead of jasmine rice, I'm going to do stir fry with my veggies with my chicken. That swap is so much more effective than going on the Stairmaster for 45 minutes. It's so much more effective and it's a hell of a lot easier too. So do not punish yourself through exercise. I will not let you guys do that. Sure, we set a whole bunch of goals and things like that, but I won't let you talk about the gym negatively because the gym's not a negative space. So just remember that. Keep that time for exploring what you can do physically and use the kitchen for those other swaps. It's going to be a lot more effective for you. Okay. And then the last one I have for you guys tonight. So the last don't is please don't do it alone. Okay. You are not alone in this. You're destined for greatness and we are all here for you. The one thing that I'm very proud of at the Invictus Core is I've worked, and I'm going to say it just like I feel it in my chest. I've worked my ass off the last 3 or 4 years to have a bomb ass community of people who show up for everybody else. You guys, I know all of you know if you went in the Facebook group and you posted something you were struggling with, you would have 15 people that would reach out and that would help you, or they would comment on your post. I'm really freaking proud of that. Because when I started my journey, I didn't have that, which is precisely why I made the Invictus Core. I never wanted another person to feel alone on their journey ever again. Our app announcements are amazing. Our live streams are awesome. They're getting better and better, which I'm so proud of. Our Facebook feed community, right? The Invictus Course Facebook group is great. The IC Ladies group chat is great. There's so many resources for you. Don't do it alone. And even if you think nobody's struggling what I'm struggling with, like I'm the only one. No, you're not. It's just like our teachers used to say, if you have a question, someone else has a question, right? There's a lot of people. We're all going through shit. We're all going through really hard shit all the time. We don't have to do it alone and we get to do it together. So this is your reminder that if you see a post in the Facebook group, I would love if you guys could give a like, if you could give a comment, if you invite somebody else to that group, right? I want this to be a space where people continue to come and they feel encouraged, but you guys are the leaders of those groups, right? This team, like the coaching staff team, is a leader in that group and people look up to you guys. And so I appreciate every single one of you for being a part of that and being involved in it. But just know that like you don't have to do it alone, but by us all showing up together, other people know that they don't have to do it alone. So just remember that on your journey. No one's here to judge you. No one is going to pose any judgment against you whatsoever. If for some reason they did, believe me, I will have words with them. Okay. But everyone's here to be supportive, to be uplifting to one another. And that's what the core in Invictus Core stands for, a community of people working in a common direction. We named it that for a reason. So I'm excited to continue to grow that Facebook group, and I would love your guys' help in doing that. But just know that you're not alone on any part of this journey. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. What questions does anybody have about the do's and don'ts of a fitness journey? Or maybe you thought of some other don'ts for yourself or some other do's for yourself that you want to share. Anything? Nothing? Okay. The last thing I want to say as we close out is I promise you guys, if you ask me a question and I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I don't have the answer, but I'll go find it. So don't think, oh, well, it's out of Kelsey's scope of practice. She doesn't know, the answer. She wouldn't be able to help with that. You'd be surprised. I got my resources. We can absolutely help you in whatever way, shape, or form that is. So reach out. Please don't be afraid to do that. And we're happy to help you. Jordan said, my right side is much more developed than my left. Both have about the same strength. That can absolutely be a thing, Jordan. So you would probably need to focus on endurance training on one of the other sides versus like strength training. So I would do lower weight, higher rep for you specifically. That's what I would do. Cool, great question. Anybody else? Otherwise, are we good to go? Okay, well, I will see you guys next week. We will have our regular team call next week. Again, this is our new time, so I'm excited to hopefully see a few more people and get you guys back to your nights and all that stuff. So have a great rest of your evening. I look forward to reading over your assessments this week if I haven't already got them to you, and we'll go from there. Oh, Christy said in the comments, does she have an accountability partner? Does anybody need an accountability partner? Christy, I'd recommend posting that in our Facebook group chat too. Like not like the Facebook group, but our like IC Ladies group chat. I'm sure somebody's probably gonna take you up on that. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. We'll make sure you get your accountability partner, Chrissy. I love it. And we'll talk soon. All right. Bye, guys.